cold frosty finger of winter is nearly upon us, as my old Scottish grandmother probably didn't say when she was alive, but this means that we're getting closer to thinking about what to do with regards to your tree fern. So in this video we're going to be talking about the five mistakes you want to avoid when you're overwintering your tree ferns. Oh, that's delicious. So if you are worried about your tree ferns getting cold damage, then I'm going to assume that you are keeping an eye on the overnight temperatures on BBC Weather or the Met Office or whatever weather station that you'll be looking at, and keeping on the long range forecast, because if temperatures start to get below about 6 degrees, start touching the overnight temperature of 6 degrees, then below that 5, 4, 3, certainly 3, maybe 4, you'll start getting the risk of frost. And as with many plants, you get frost on them, you start to get some damage, and that can trigger a mechanism within the plant to start drawing in nutrition for the following year. So with this in mind, and you know the inevitable, it's going to be really cold at some point, but the chances are it's going to be, you're going to expecting it like in a few days time, and suddenly you get a change in the weather forecast and immediately you've got a problem. That night it's going to be very cold. So one of the things you need to avoid is make sure you've actually got all your frost protection in place, ready to go as soon as you need it. So make sure you got your fleece, make sure you got your string, make sure you got whatever you need to make sure that your plant has got protected. So that's one of the biggest mistakes. You know, if it's 6 o'clock at night, you've come home and you found out that tomorrow is going to be like 0 degrees, and you know you can't go out and buy it anyway, it's too late. So make sure you have all the stuff you need in place already. Make sure it's ready to go. Make sure you are ready to go. In here, look down there. I don't know if you can get down there. In there is the crown, and that crown is the most. Ooh, I knew that was going to happen. That crown is the most important part of the tree fern, and is the one part of the tree fern that you must protect. You get this bit wrong, and you're going to have yourself all sorts of problems. And there are three reasons why we keep the fronds on and try and keep them in as good a condition as you possibly can. The first one is because they act as a little bit of frost protection in their very cells. Cold temperature protection, frost protection. Number two, if there is any damage to the leaves, then if they're still in place, then the plant can draw in all the nutrients, carbohydrates, starches, whatever it is. They can draw those back into the crown and have that ready for next year. And then number three, come the spring next year, if you've still got your fronds, if they're still in good condition, still got chlorophyll, still able to grow, then those old leaves can help power the crown to produce the spring's new fronds. So that's 3 reasons why you don't cut your leaves off. Don't do it. I've told you once, I'm not telling you again. Right, mistake number 3, and this one is again really important. All these issues are important, and that is to protect the crown as best as you can. You know, fleece the crown, double fleece it, triple fleece it. If you know it's going to be cold, then extra fleece on it. Also in the crown, I know you've got your you know, even if you've tied up all your leaves and that's protected, I would still put either dry leaves or a big ball of fleece and shove that in the crown as well. Anything to keep the cold off it. Now last year we had temperatures down to -7, -8, and the tree ferns, you can't lift them and bring them in. I mean, that's ridiculous. So the only protection they've got is the protection that you give it, and it's a testament to how good these plants are, that they will take these temperatures with the protection. Now if you haven't got any protection on it, then chances are all those are dead. You know, -7 degrees, it's not what they have evolved to take. But protect them properly and they will survive those extreme temperatures. So like I say, protect that crown. So it's like the top sort of like foot of it is the most important part. But you know, no one's going to say you're not putting enough protection in, and I've seen people put in like a metal kind of like a cylinder. So put a cylinder around the entire trunk, backfill all that with straw, you know, to make absolutely sure there's no problems. And you might have to do that the further north in the country you are. We're in the UK, as you can tell from my dodgy accent. So protect the crown at all costs. The crown is the king of the tree fern. The cloud forests of Tasmania, from which the Dicksonia antarctica tree ferns are from, have an enormous amount of rainfall throughout the year. They receive an incredible 3.5 meters of rain each year, every year. So when you've completely wrapped up your tree fern, you can't just leave it like that over the winter, because the poor old thing will eventually dry out. Don't forget that the trunk is just a big kind of fibrous water bottle where water kind of in time leaks out or dries out of it. So you need to make sure that over the winter period you still do at least some watering. So once you've done all your wrapping, you need to make sure there's some way that you can actually access the crown, whether you just make a little hole if it's only a small tree fern, or maybe put a bit of pipe from the outside to go in, so that you can still water it. Now, you won't be watering it as much as you would have done during the year, which you could really water every day, 1, 2, 3 litres of water, depending on how big your tree fern is. But it's so important. But if you've got freezing temperatures, then any water that would be available could then freeze. So don't water when everything is frozen. That's ridiculous. You know, wait for a mild day, you know, 3, 4, 5 degrees, and water then. But if you forget to water, then the crown can shrink, you can have damage, you'll have a poor frond growth come the spring. So watering is actually a really, really important thing. And if you are making a hole just through all your fleece, then make sure that it's all covered back up again once you've finished your watering. If you're asking me what it is, you know, if you're doing say 1 to 3 litres a day in the summer, then over the winter you can probably knock that down to 2 or 3 litres every 2 or 3 weeks. So mistake number 5, and it kind of runs into the water issue with tree ferns. As you know, over the summer you can't just water and expect it to be okay, because while you're giving it the water that it requires, as water passes through and comes out, it also takes a lot of the nutrition out with it. So even at the moment, I've seen with the huge amount of rainfall we've had, some of the big tree ferns that we look after, you know, all the new growth that's come out, because they are still growing, have come out very, very yellowy green. They just haven't got the nutrients in the crown or in the trunk in order to keep the chlorophyll pigments, get enough of it in there. So with water, you must fertilize too. So don't forget the fertilizer. I know it doesn't sound right, you know, fertilizing tree ferns over the winter, but you're not fertilizing it in order to push out new growth. You're just trying to maintain condition. So so you would put, say, a small amount of fertilizer in every month, 6 weeks. You know, that's all it is. It's just keeping condition up. Of course, you don't want to over fertilize, because that would be a big problem. So whatever you were doing before, which would probably be once a week, you want to knock that right down, but don't not fertilize it. I know some of you out there are going to disagree with me, but the proof is in the pudding. You know, when come the spring and these new fronds come out, rather than the weedy sort of like 6, 7, 8 fronds that you normally get, you get this right, you get the watering right over the winter, you get the feeding right over winter, and you could have like 20, 30, 40 fronds on a big plant, just because the crown has been kept in the best condition that you can do it. It won't be as in good condition as it would be in its native habitat, because that's nigh impossible in the UK. We're in the wrong hemisphere, we're not in the right environment. But again, it's a testament to just how strong and how tough tree ferns are, that they can grow so well in our country, given that you look after it, put a bit of work into it. And as with many plants that aren't from this country, the ones that are the most interesting, probably going to put a bit of work in to keep them in top condition. Anyway, there we have it. And if you've got anything you'd like to add, then we would love to hear from you. Just put that in the comments, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.